This is Robert Vierschilling, and in this video I'll show you how to restring a classical guitar. You'll need your classical guitar, a set of nylon classical guitar strings, either an electric tuner, a tuning fork, or whatever you use for tuning the guitar. You may want a string winder, that's optional. You will need either a pair of wire clippers or a set of nail clippers for trimming the ends of the strings when you're finished. And you may need a pair of scissors for getting the strings out of the package. Begin by taking a look at how the strings are tied onto your guitar now. Hopefully they're tied on correctly, and this will give you a model of how they should look when you're finished. There are a number of ways to tie strings onto a classical guitar, and I'll show you the way that I use, which is the same way that I show my students. Also, begin by replacing one string at a time. This way, if you find that the job is taking longer than you expect, you can still play your guitar with a few new strings and a few old strings, and you can finish when you have more time. The first time you change strings on a classical guitar, you may find that it takes an hour or more. With practice, it'll only take 5 to 10 minutes. We'll begin by replacing the bass strings. The first one that we'll change is string 4. And the reason we'll do string 4 first is that it's the thinnest of the bass strings, therefore the easiest to work with. Then we'll do strings 5 and 6. The treble strings have an additional step at the end that the bass strings don't have. So for the treble strings, we'll go in the order of 3, 2, and 1. First, loosen the string either by hand or with the string winder. I need to get a close-up of this. Then what I like to do is I cut the string at either end. It's just a little easier to take the string off, and then I pull the short ends out of each end of the guitar, and then take the other end out of the bridge. The next thing you'll need to do is get the correct string for the package. Sometimes the strings are in separate envelopes. In this particular set of strings, all of the strings are in one package, and they're labeled with a small tab. I just go ahead and cut the small tab off. Some people like to pull it off. The next thing we'll do is tie the string into the bridge around the tie block. And you simply put the string through the tie block and wrap it around itself. And I come around the side closer to the bass strings and around so that the loop at the end is going upward, and pull it taut. Next, I'm going to pull the string taut so that I can bring the other end of the string up to the head of the guitar, and I'm going to tie it around the roller. Then I'm going to make sure that the hole in the roller is angled in such a way that it will be easy for the string to go through. I'll thread the string through it, and I'll use my forearm to hold the string in place over on this side and bring the string back up through. So it looks like this. Then I'm going to tie the same type of knot on this end as I tied on the other end, with the exception of it's going around a round roller instead of a square tie block. And I'm going to nudge the string in place with my fingers so that all the winds are close to each other, and then tighten it onto the roller. I'll do a little bit by listening to see if the string sounds like it's going in the right direction. The most important wind is the very first one, and I want this fourth string to wind inward toward the center of the guitar. Likewise, I'm going to want the fifth string to wind inward towards the center of the guitar. The different one in the bass side is the sixth string should wind outward away from the guitar. This way, when the strings cross the nut of the guitar, they're going in as straight of a line as possible, where the sixth string is on the opposite side of the top of the roller. Then to take the third string off the guitar, I'm going to use the string winder. You can also do it just by hand, but this goes a little bit quicker. Making sure that the string is completely taut before taking the cutters. I'm cutting the string a little bit at both ends, and then taking the small end out of both the tie block and the roller. Okay. Now that I have the third string, I'm going to do the same thing. Unwind the string, clip off the end with the tab. Now what's a little bit different here is when I tie this string, rather than running it around the end of the string one time and feeding it through, I'm going to pull the string through once and then wrap it back around again so that the string goes around twice. And the reason I do that is the bass strings are thicker and have grooves in it, and the string will get caught on the bass strings and will stay still. Because this string is thinner and made of the slippery nylon, I want there to be more contact with the string and a tighter knot, so that's why I run this one through twice. Then I'm going to pull the string taut and tie the end up at the other end of the guitar.
There we go.
Okay. Then at this end of the guitar, I'm going to pull the string a little taut, use my forearm to hold the string in place, and put the string back through the hole in the roller, using my fingers to make any little adjustments if the string goes in the wrong spot. Bring the string up through the slot on the far side of the guitar over here, not in this spot, but in that spot. Then I'm going to tie the same knot that I did on the tie block, with the exception of at the headstock of the guitar, I only run the string through once and tie the knot once. That seems to hold the string in place just fine. Now as I'm tightening this, I want this third string to wind inward towards the center of the guitar. Now the third string is on the guitar. And now I'll remove the first string from the guitar with the string winder again. Then I'm going to run the first string through the hole in the tie block and bring it around and send it back under the string once, twice, and now a third time because the first string is very thin and very slippery. And bring it back and make sure that the string is along the edge of the tie block and not along the side of it. Then I'm going to hold the string and pull it taut and tie it onto the head of the guitar. Then I'm going to tie the first string onto the roller the same way I tied all of the other strings. Now that all the strings are on the guitar, I'm going to tune it up using an electric tuner. You'll find that the new strings will stretch out and go out of tune a lot. You can make them stay in tune faster by tuning the guitar many times throughout the day on the first couple days that you have the strings on, and then it will only take a day or two for them to stay in tune. If you tune the guitar only once or twice a day, they'll still stretch out and stay in tune. It just might take a week or two. Okay. The last thing I'm going to do is trim the extra ends off the ends of the string. The reason I do that last is if I take a look at any of the strings and decide I'm not happy with the way that I put them on, with the extra string in place, it's easy to take the string off and retie it. Once the string is clipped close to the edge of either the roller or the tie block at the other end, it's very difficult to take the string off and retie it. But I gave these strings a quick once over. They look pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and cut them off. Just using the wire clippers, I cut the string pretty close to the tie block, leaving just a short distance in between them, and I'm going to cut all 6 strings that way. Sometimes I'll turn the guitar over to have easier access to one of the strings, or to more than one of the strings, or to quite a number of the strings. However, some might be easier to access from the top of the guitar. There we have all 6 strings clipped close at the head of the guitar. Finally, I'm going to clip the string ends at the end of the tie block. Just a little bit at the edge. Doesn't need to be too much string here. This is why I like using wire clippers, because they catch the string easy. Sometimes when I've used nail clippers, I've had to really squeeze and work hard to get it. These wire clippers just take it right off. Then for the bass strings, I didn't leave much slack, but I can still get in there and get a little of the excess string off. Likewise on the 5th string. Oh, there it goes. And on the 5th, 6th string.